Dad, I want you to meet Psycho Goreman, or PG for short.
I will bathe in your blood.
Don't worry.
Be worried.
Psycho Goreman, A Little Girl, Big Psycho, released in 2021. The story concerns two siblings, Mimi and Luke, who dig up a murderous, psychotic, head-ripping warlord, alien from the planet Gygax, who is intent on destroying humanity and the world as we know it. An intergalactic council send Pandora, an efficient, ruthless assassin with a data-like complex to Earth, to kill Psycho Goreman. The little girl, Mimi, finds she can control Psycho Goreman. Together, they go on adventures, tear bullies a new arsehole, form a rock band, and even have their own cute montage moment. Also approaching Earth are a group of allies on their way to rescue Psycho Goreman, or are they? Will Psycho Goreman survive? Will he learn about friendship and love? Can he for one moment stop ripping people apart? Directed by Steven Kostanski and starring Nita Hoseana, Owen Meyer, Matthew Nienaber and Kristen McCullough. Psycho Goreman is an energetic, zany, crazy, visually stunning film that has gained cult status. It's easily one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. So let's go and explore Psycho Goreman.
Number 1. Inspirations for Psycho Goreman.
Psycho Goreman is inspired by many things, most notably 80s VHS horror and sci-fi, and it embraces old notions with all its charming heart. Director Steven Kostanski said he would love to make an 80s style movie with the same kind of absurd logic and visual effects many straight to VHS horror would display. He wanted to create a feature which would deliver on the poster artwork, as when he was a kid he would be amazed at what many of the VHS covers in the video shop would promise, as we all were. Sometimes the covers were much better than the films deserved. E.T. the extraterrestrial, the beloved alien who loved to phone home and was adored by children and adults worldwide, was a strange inspiration, as Kostanski was watching it one time and thought, what if E.T. was actually a megalomaniac who wanted to destroy the planet? Thus the seed for Psycho Goreman was sown. Terminator 2 was also an influence on Kostanski's vision for this movie, as he was intrigued by the notion of a murderous, scary villain being controlled and used for good. So with that, he had the little girl Mimi absurdly control one of the most evil beings in the galaxy, with a slightly skewed outlook. 80s VHS covers, E.T. and Terminator 2 were the likely and not so likely inspirations.
Number 2. The idea.
As with most movies, it usually starts with an idea that can just spring out of nothing. Psycho Goreman was once just an image Steven Kostanski had of a Hulk-like monster playing the drums for no particular reason other than that's just what floated around in his head. The scene was of course put on screen, and it's a joy to behold during a montage which every movie made in the 80s seemed to have. Rocky was built on them. Then, in 2014, Steven Kostanski directed the W is for Wish segment in the horror anthology ABCs of Death 2. The story is about two children who travel to the fantasy world of Harmonia, based on some fantasy E-Man style toys the boys both love, only to find the world is a much more sinister and violent place than maybe they were expecting it to be. It was elements of this and his drumming monster image that formed the basis for Psycho Goreman.
Number 3. What's in a name?
And his name? Psycho Goreman.
Steven Kostanski had the idea, but what to call the Gygaxian warlord who wants to bathe in your blood for eternity? Well, Rawhead Rex has a lot to answer for. While spinning around ideas one night, he was watching cult horror movie Rawhead Rex on the late night TV. Rawhead Rex is an 80s creature feature based on a Clive Barker story, and as a teenager I loved this ropey movie. It's absurd on the surface, and if I'm being honest, it's not aged well, a bit like me. Kostanski thought the concept about unearthing an ancient creature with a silly name was something he could play around with. The silly Rawhead Rex title inspired him to come up with Psycho Goreman. He then thought, nobody's used a rating system as a title, I mean why would you? He found it humorous to abbreviate it to PG, especially as there's no way on a Gigantian planet this was anywhere near a PG rating with its gory, over-the-top violence. Maybe there will be 12 sequels in the future and it will be called PG-13.
Number 4. The look of Psycho Goreman.
When coming up with the look of Psycho Goreman, Kostansky thought back to all those 80s monster movies with big hulking latex monsters, a 1996 movie, Guyver, Dark Hero, and decided to create something along those lines with the help of artist Aurelio Mazzara, a superb comic book artist and freelance character designer who's worked for such companies as Disney and Marvel, amongst others. The design was fine-tuned. Poor Matthew Ninabar, the actor who played Psycho Goreman so well that he expressed so much with his mannerisms and his eyes, whilst buried deep under the latex. He would have to endure a good 4 hours or so to glue all the pieces to his body, and it was extremely hot and clammy, a bit like my underpants on a hot sunny afternoon. He would sometimes have to spend 12 hours in the suit. You get to my age, Matthew Ninabar, you'll be going to the toilet every minute, so if you're going to play PG again, get on it pronto, before you become a really old man. Matthew Ninabar could barely see or hear once the suit was on, and there were no toilet holes, so holding it in was the only option. He did say it was one of the most uncomfortable experiences he'd ever endured making a movie, but once the shooting started, he absolutely loved being Psycho Goreman and would quite happily play him again. Matthew Ninabar and Kristen McCulloch may have suffered for their art, but they both said they loved their roles immensely and it was worth it. So hats off to you and the rest of the crew too. Kristen McCulloch, who plays Psycho Goreman's arch nemesis Pandora, the disturbed hyper-belligerent hell-bent Avenger, did say her suit was also uncomfortable. She would put a suit on, then they would apply sections to her suit. The helmet was glued to magnets on the side of her head, which ended up ripping some of her hair out. The eyes would squash her face in, but she could remove it whenever she wanted. When the wings were applied, she would struggle to get to the set and actually had a Wranglers. No, not a pair of jeans. Some guys to guide her, as she would bump into things otherwise, a bit like when teenagers have had a drink of hooch, and all of a sudden they can barely walk and the parents have to guide them to their room. Both Matthew Ninabar and Kristen McCulloch both suffered for their roles, but loved playing the characters.
Number 5. The location.
The film was shot in Canada. Many films have been shot in Canada, but disguised as more inland US locations such as Washington or New York, due to it being cheaper to shoot there. Usually the vast amount of pine trees give away the location, and with Stephen Kostansky being a native Canadian, he decided to shoot there, but also set it there too. Kostansky was hoping for a more sunny, whimsical look like E.T., but it bloody rained for every day of shooting except one day, which gave the film a drizzly, greyer look, but Kostansky now prefers that look.
He's gonna kill everybody. Not unless I tell him to.
Some of the movie was also shot near Niagara Falls, most notably the forest fight scene. The warehouse, which features in several scenes, was actually an abandoned warehouse the production crew found in Wellens near Niagara Falls. It was actually being guarded by a security guard who allowed them to use it as a filming location because they gave him the role of one of the unfortunate bums who gets his head torn off in the warehouse near the beginning of the movie.
Number 6. The merchandise.
Director Kostansky has purposely made a deal with a company called Plastic Meatball to sell official Psycho Goreman merchandise. He felt films of today were missing that. jogging through the forest amongst leftover blood and guts. They probably thought a serial killer was on the loose, which would have made them run faster and burn off more calories. What's to complain about?
Number 8. PJ Practical Joker and Unrecognizable Chap.
Matthew Nineveh would spend long arduous hours under the makeup playing Psycho Goreman, so to amuse himself he would often hide on the set behind doors and sneak behind crew and cast members and scare the living Gatsian hell out of them whilst wearing the PG makeup. He pretty much got the old crew. Stephen Kostansky told him not to, as he was worried the crew members would take photographs and pictures of Psycho Goreman, which may be leaked onto the internet. Matthew Nineveh reassured him though, so was allowed his bits of fun scaring people. And to be honest, they were too busy shitting their pants to get their cameras out to take pictures anyway. Matthew Nineveh was one of the first people on set because it took so long to apply the Psycho Goreman makeup, so this meant many people did not actually see the actor's face, which led to an awkward moment when he turned up one day for a later shoot and walked onto set, but he was refused entry as he had no idea who he was out of his costume. Fancy being the star of the movie and you're not even allowed on set because no one recognises who you are. Crazy!
Number 9. Bio Cop.
His name is Bio.
There's a great moment in PG where he turns one of the cops trying to apprehend him into a bloody, flesh-ripped, mutilated being who walks along with PG and the gang begging to be killed. For some reason, this character reminds my partner of me, don't know why. What you may not know is this character, played by Robert Homer, has appeared before in a fake trailer called Bio Cop. This fake trailer was a previous film by director Stephen Kostansky, which you have to check out. The fake trailer, Bio Cop, was about this poor cop who cannot die whilst trying to rid the street of a designer drug. So for fans of Kostansky's work, it was a nice little touch in the Psycho Goreman movie.
Number 10. Will there be a sequel?
The movie has a cult following and is highly regarded, so it's inevitable there will be talks of a sequel. Stephen Kostansky has said he will still visit the world of Psycho Goreman once more, although as of yet he's not sure when or how. But he did say he has an idea that would involve Psycho Goreman in his cowboy outfit, going on another adventure. Who knows, maybe PG will become involved in an intergalactic western. If you're watching this a few years after I've uploaded the video and the sequel has already been made and gone, then ignore me, it will look like I'm talking utter shite. I would love a sequel. I would love to see a comic book based on this, an animated series. Just give me some more Psycho Goreman before I destroy the world. Sorry, I've not took my pills today.
Understand now.
Good.
There you have it, 10 groovy facts about one of the greatest films I've seen in a long time. Such a fun, pacey, massive buzz of a movie. I absolutely love it. And if you liked what you saw, then please comment and subscribe. Anyway, I am off to bathe in your blood, and I'm going to show my wife my meat sword.